We are, as a people, inherently and historically opposed to secret society, opposed to secret oaths, opposed to secret proceedings, secret proceedings. No official of my administration, whether his rank is high or low, should interpret my words here tonight as an excuse to censor the news, to stifle dissent, to cover up our mistakes, or to withhold from the press and the public the facts they deserve to know.
Hey guys, this is Sammy. Abe's at work right now, and I decided to do some ghost readings for you guys. We have quite a few books, and I don't know, I thought it'd be kind of neat to just read you some stories. None of these are relatively too long, so I'll have a few I'm able to read, and they're from a book called Ghosts Across Kentucky by William Linwood Montell. It has a really creepy looking cover too on it, I think. I guess to a degree. Kind of is, kind of isn't. But the book is sectioned off into different kinds of categories of sorts. So you got ones that are about headless ghosts. You got ones that's called like haunted spots on the landscape. You got ones that are weird, eerie, ghostly lights, ghosts of suicide victims. I mean, all kinds of different things like that. They're stories that they've gathered throughout time, and I think the person who did this is they've collected them. They've done their research to find out as much as they could, get these stories. These stories are relatively old. A lot of them are coming from as far back as like the 1930s, well into the 1960s and the late 90s and such. So they're a bit older. It's nothing like too recent, but I still think it's kind of cool. So I'm gonna read you some stories from this book. And let's see here. I had the story and then I went and lost it. Where was it? I want to try to. I don't know. Like I said, there's a lot of them. So I'm going to do ones from haunted spots on the landscape. I thought those would be a little more interesting to read. And again, these are all supposed to be based on some actuality. Like this person is pretty much found like, yeah, hey, this is a story that I know. So let's get right on into it. The first one is called The Ghost of a Little Girl Killed in Bloody Harlan. It was a rainy day on October 13th, 1956. Back then, my grandfather, whom I shall call Cowwood, drove a Greyhound bus. Early that morning, he was getting ready there in Harlan to run his route for the day. Like any other rainy day, it was just miserable and gloomy. Cowwood's first bus stop was in Pine Mountain, then on to Everett's and Baxter. He picked up passengers in those places and took them back to Harlan so that they could do whatever. Cowwood then went to lunch, but got an unexpected telephone call from his boss telling him that he had to work a double shift, the reason being that the second shift driver had called in sick. Naturally, Cowwood was pleased to hear this because he had a wife and 3 kids, and a little extra money wouldn't hurt a thing. I get that feeling. It was late evening, around 10:30 p.m., when Cowwood dropped off his passengers at Baxter and Everett's. He had one passenger to haul on over to Pine Mountain. The two of them started up this steep mountain slope, when suddenly the rain picked up and the fog got real bad. They were about halfway up the mountain when Cowwood saw a little girl about 11 or 12 years old, just soaked from the rain, and she appeared to be terribly cold. Suddenly, the passenger began screaming at Cowwood, telling him not to stop to pick her up. Cowwood was terrified at the screaming, but being his normal stubborn self, he stopped on the mountain and opened the door for the little girl. Well, he didn't see her when he stopped, so he went down the steps and started looking for her. She was nowhere to be seen, so he stepped back into the bus and sat down in the driver's seat with a look of fright and confusion on his middle-aged face. He turned around and asked the passenger what was going on. The passenger told him to get the bus moving on up the mountain, that he would tell him when he did. With the bus moving once again, the passenger told Cowwood that the little girl had been killed along with other family members at the beginning of the miners' conflict called Bloody Harlan. He said, "The little girl is often seen on nights when the weather is like it is tonight." Well, Cowwood saw her that one more time, and he kept on looking for her as he would pass by that spot, but he never saw her again after that. Alright, what do you think of that one? I mean, that would be kind of creepy. You see some little girl on the side of the road, she's young, you're gonna go, oh shit, I need to help her, you know? And at the same time, that is creepy because the guy obviously knew not, the other passenger anyway, already knew, don't stop, like, it ain't nothing, keep on going. But I could see someone being like, oh no, what are you talking about, if they don't know the already story or legend of it. And yeah, if I didn't see the little girl after looking, and I stepped off the bus, I'd be creeped out and be like, yep, nope, we're not stopping again. We're just gonna keep on going. Alrighty, so here's the next one. Horses spooked by the spirit of a vampire woman. Ooh. Interesting. Okay. A friend of mine from Edmonson County told about this vampiress that was killed on the road not far from where he lives, and supposedly she was buried close by in an old cemetery. My friend claimed that horses can sense a ghost or a vampire, so they won't go near where she was killed. That was a while back when this woman vampire was buried. Anyway, these guys were on horseback riding down the road. All of a sudden, their horses stopped and wouldn't move. The riders didn't beat the horses, but they couldn't get them to go near the spot where this vampiress was supposedly killed. It is said that on certain nights you can see a white light right in the middle of the road, and also up there around her grave. They claim that the people on other horses have ridden them up there in the woods where she's supposedly buried, and when they get there, their horses will just rear up and throw their riders out of the saddle. Then these horses will take off, running in the other direction, just as fast as they can. Yeah, I don't know how I feel about that story. That's definitely a hearsay legend. I definitely believe horses are going to be able to sense things we can't. I do believe animals can sense things that we can't. Yeah. I don't know how I feel about that one. Let's see if we can find something a bit longer. Let's try to find a story that's kind of longer. The Ghost of Middlebridge. There's a story about this little girl that fell out of the back door of a car as it was crossing this bridge on the old Middlebridge Road here in Warren County. Okay, how the hell... Oh, then again, these are older stories. You didn't exactly have child safety locks as much. So maybe this is a time before those. But still, how the heck is she going to fall out of the back of a car? This little girl died there on the bridge, and her ghost is still seen or felt there by lots of people, myself included. I worked for a farmer at one time who owned a field on the old Middlebridge Road. This old road had been closed for a long time. Anyway, I was driving a tractor late one night, but the farmer had told me that I didn't have to work past dark if I didn't want to. But I wanted to go ahead and get the job done. So I was out there on the tractor just working away and playing the radio that was hooked up in the cab of the tractor. When you're on a tractor, you can only see just where the headlights are shining. I turned the tractor around when I got to the end of the row, and the tractor lights shined over where the old bridge was located. There's trees and stuff all around it now, and the tree limbs and branches were really blowing. I mean, real bad. But I didn't think anything about it until I realized that there wasn't any wind blowing anyplace else. Okay, that's creepy. Just to prove it, I shined the tractor lights on some other trees and saw that they weren't even moving. So I got real scared and picked up the farm disc with the tractor lift, then drove the tractor up this little dirt road just as far as I could go. I mean, the trees were hitting me, hitting the tractor. I was scared spitless. The ghost of that little girl was causing all of this to happen. I knew it had to do something, so I got out of the tractor and ran to my truck and drove home. I never went back to work over there again after dark. Okay. Yeah, that is definitely creepy. And at least here's another story about it, so that gives it some credibility that there's another story about this little ghost girl. So, it is said that a girl was a... Oh, no, this is different. Same area, I think. Alright, Warren County? Warren County. Yeah, okay, same county. Different story. It is said that a girl was abducted by some boys out by a bridge here in Warren County, and either she jumped or she was thrown over a cliff by this bridge to get away from them. Anyway, they say that anytime a couple parks out there by this old bridge, the girl will come down onto the hood of the car to see if the boy that's got the girl with him is the one who attacked and killed her. There's been several times that I know of when a couple has run into this ghost girl out there on the bridge. Fred Farrenmore, president of the IFC, was out there with some boys one night, and they were sitting. They had to sit there several nights in a row. Anyway, on this particular night, they were sitting there at about 2 o'clock in the morning, and they saw a light coming down the hill. When it got a little more than halfway down the hill, they decided it was time for them to leave. There were these two other couples that were double dating one night. They decided to go out to the old bridge and park. They said that this light got all the way down the hill before they saw it. The light settled on the hood of the car, and the car started vibrating. They got scared and tried to start the car, but it wouldn't start. The ghostly light just kind of disappeared, and it was still 5 minutes before they could get the car started. Fred also told me that there were 3 professors here at Western Kentucky University, 3 men, a philosopher, and 2 psychologists, that decided to go out there just to see what this was all about. Yeah, that sounds about right. People who'd be definitely skeptical. Those are definitely people who are skeptical of such things. One of the 3 men had a Chihuahua dog that rode up on the back of the car seat. These 3 men did this every night for about a week, and then one night, late at night, the dog started shivering and whining. They looked up at the cliff, and here comes a light down the cliff. It came on down and settled on the hood of the car, as the couples had said that it did when they were doubling, and the car started vibrating, shaking. They couldn't get the motor started. Said they watched the light as it moved over onto the bridge, and when it got there, it took the shape of a girl. Fred told me that these 3 professors will swear to anyone right now that this really happened. Okay, so she's just pretty much testing, hey, are you the person who killed me? And it sounds like her energy stops the car from starting again, which would really freak me the hell out should such a thing happen. Alright. Like I said, these things are pretty short, so yeah. The ghost of Clara Morrow Field. My family, including my husband Earl, our teenage son Fred, and daughter Margaret, moved to Somerset back in 1978. Somerset's a very small place. It's not very big. It was good to be in Somerset, the home of Senator John Sherman Cooper and Governor Edwin Murrow. I began teaching at Meese Middle School, and Margaret enrolled there as a student. Within a few weeks, we were involved in local sports and community events. Our involvement within the Somerset schools and community intensified when Margaret entered Somerset High and became a cheerleader. Thursday nights brought all of us to Clara Murrow Field. The school band led the football players, cheerleaders, and fans from Clara Murrow around the town square and back to Clara Murrow for a spirited pep rally in preparation for the big game on Friday night. When I asked the locals how the football field happened to be named for a woman, their responses revealed a most interesting story. The Sam Morrow family lived on College Street next to Somerset High School. Clara's mother, Jean Fox Curd, that is an interesting name, was in Somerset High's first graduating class, and her father, Scott Morrow, served as a major during the Spanish-American War. He was a brother of Governor Morrow. Clara was born June 21st, 1896. Her long curls, beautiful smile, and winning ways made her a favorite of all who knew her. Tragedy struck this happy Morrow family when Clara, an outgoing 10-year-old, died of meningitis on January 25, 1907. Some stories say she was roller skating on the sidewalk when she fell, injuring her knee. Other versions have Clara falling into icy water while skating on a pond in her backyard. The entire town of Somerset mourned with her grief-stricken parents. Hearts were heavy as the community struggled to help the parents cope with life's greatest heartbreak, the loss of a child. Clara's parents focused on how they could preserve the memory of their departed daughter. In 1923, when additional land was required to meet standard requirements for a football field, Major and Miss Morrow gave the necessary footage and plus a driveway from College Street to the new field. In appreciation of the gift, the Somerset Board of Education named the field Clara Morrow Field. Major and Miss Morrow erected a most impressive entrance as a tribute to Clara. The dedication of Clara Morrow Field was a major event in the town of Somerset. However, nothing could erase the fact that one of the town's most beautiful and promising young girls had been denied her teenage years. During those years, Clara would have attended games at the football field and studied with her classmates at Somerset High School. The contributions she could have made to the community would never be fulfilled. Yeah, it does suck to know that young life is taken in general, and then you always think about those kind of things. Well, now they'll never get to do those, but that is sadly part of life. I hate to say it, but it's the truth. After the death of Clara's father, the heirs sold his home and 9 acres of land to the Somerset Board of Education. The board later bought the land containing the house where Clara died. Then the Morrow home, with its sad memories, was torn down. Along about that time, the ghost of Clara Morrow began to be seen or felt on numerous occasions. Well, yeah, you destroyed her home. She was a kid when she died, so I think I'd be a little pissed off as a kid at that age when you don't understand. I'm dead, and everything I love is kind of irrelevant now, in the space of time, that is. You know, that family is now gone, and unless someone could see another use for it, like maybe the Historical Society could have saved it, but I mean, and yeah, if it's doing nothing else and you can use it to other means, I guess so. So according to a local legend, Clara's spirit was restless. It had roamed through her old home there on College Street, trying to capture her idyllic childhood. After all, Clara had spent 10 years of her life living next door to the high school. People said that she just loved watching the teenagers carry their books to class or cheering at the football games. Where was I? Where did I lose it? Her spirit was not to be denied. When her home was sold, her ghost moved over to the football field which bore her name. Countless sightings have been made of the white, misty apparition that floats up from the 50-yard line during homecoming week each fall. In years past, the brave-hearted youngsters camped out until the stroke of midnight to wait for Clara's ghost. One of the school's night watchmen witnessed Clara's ghost-like figure and verified their stories. She is only visible at midnight, but her spirit is felt during countless activities on the football field and in the school building as well. Some say that Clara's ghost is in search of homecoming dance. Others say that when they see her, she is searching for her parents. The restless spirit of Clara cannot diminish the many uses which have been made of Clara Moreau Field. The football team has moved on to Clark Field, a much larger stadium. The elaborate entrance, donated by Clara's parents, is no longer in existence. However, the field dedicated to Clara's memory is now home to Somerset's soccer teams, band practice, and crazy games during homecoming week. All these activities are over before the stroke of midnight. I can't help but wonder what would happen if a soccer game should go into more than one overtime, thus extending the game beyond the stroke of midnight into the witching hour. Might Clara be seen running down the field, or giving Somerset's goalie a little extra help in blocking the opponent's goal? Or perhaps, if the band practiced late, really late, Clara would be seen in the woodwind section. She would be far too fragile to be a percussionist. Are you willing to come with me during homecoming week this fall to wait for Clara? Yeah, that was actually kind of more interesting. That sounds like a cool one to actually do, to go and do. Somerset's not too far from where Abe and I live, so it'd be interesting to go there now. Yeah, who knows? That actually might be one of those things we do once we get our house more settled. We're still working on that. That's coming. It's it's a slow process. Definitely, I still haven't figured out where I want to put things. Like where do I want to hang things? And things like that. And honestly, we need more shelves and things like that to put things, because we actually have more books than before, which I already knew we were going to need more bookshelves, because we've collected quite a few books over time, and this place doesn't have a whole lot of, it doesn't have a cupboard, pardon me, and so for my towels and things, I'm going to have to get something to put in the bathroom, so I can store my towels and other linen things like that, because like I said, it doesn't have a linen closet or something like that. And but it's bigger. It is bigger than the other one, which is nice. Okay, this next one's also a big long one. It's Ghost at Mammoth Cave, which I already did know that Mammoth Cave was a high active place in spiritual aspects, due to the fact that Mammoth Cave, because it's one of the largest underground cave systems in all of the world, so it's pretty awesome that Kentucky has that. I get to say, hey, I'm in a state that has the biggest cave system ever. It's pretty cool. And I've been once. It was a long, long time ago. My grandfather paid for it, and he picked the longest tour that they had, which was not ideal for his age. He had trouble breathing and stuff, but I didn't know this as a kid. I did not know how bad his health was. Such things were not told to us kids, especially of my age, because see, how old was I? I was 11? I think I was 11. This was after we moved from Garrett County to Jessamine County, which was the county actually he was in. He was actually just down the road. And he took us, and we went on the biggest, longest trail. It was actually really, really neat. And I'm sad I didn't know this as a kid, that it was haunted. But back to the point of the reason why it's kind of haunted is that obviously Indians were one that would, or not Indians, I apologize. Native Americans used it because, I mean, it's a big cave system. So it was a good place to go and shelter out in if you needed to, or even live in for a time being should you need to, or whatever. And they did that. And the settlers did it as well. And then you had the years after that. I think people tried to mine from it a little bit. They do have parts of the tours that can just gear towards that. It's showing you what they used to try to mine. But again, the one that we took, it encompassed all the different aspects that you could do in it, except for the spelunking. That's a totally different part of it. But yeah, so I mean, people did die there and within those areas and all that kind of stuff. So that's why I'm not surprised that there's a big ghost at Mammoth Cave. And I would actually like to go to the tour that deals with the ghost aspect. And no, I just want to go back in general because, like I said, I went when I was 11, and I did not appreciate the beauty and the wonders of this cave like I feel like I would now that I'm older. I thought it was cool. I did think it was cool, but at the same time, I thought it was kind of boring because my attention span back then was much smaller, and where it was like over not too long over an hour, but it was an hour tour, so you could understand why an 11-year-old is gonna go, this is a little bit of boring. Like, are we done yet? That and the end of it. Oh my goodness, the end of the tour is where it leads back up, so you have to go down into the cave, and when you're coming back out, it goes back up, and it's this, at least my kid mind, this is how my kid mind remembers it, so this is how I remember it. The steep up it was slightly like a slope up and stairs. It was kind of a bit of both. They had to turn somewhat into stairways, so people could more easily get out. But some of it was just slope, and we were at the back of this big tour group, and I'm right here on the very edge of where, before it turned off, I got to look over the edge of this rinky-dink railing. I mean, it was a rinky-dink railing, and, you see nothing but drop-off, blackness. Oh, crap! Like, you do not want to fall off, and then they go, and they turn off the lights. And I'm going, no. Turn them on. Because I'm this little kid, like, afraid that I'm going to, that the railing is going to fail me. So I did my best to stand still. And I'm just, like, thinking in my head, please turn it back on. Please turn it back on. Please turn these lights back on. Can we please hurry up and get out of here? I don't like this. But alright. So back to the story. So the story is Ghost at Mammoth Cave. Curiosity and wonder are among the many urges that draw people into the depths of Mammoth Cave. I know these urges very well, as I grew up in Park City, which is about 1 mile from this great cave system. Along with Mammoth Cave's lustrous wonders, there is a dark side, a dark, unknown side to the cave that many persons have witnessed. I never knew any of the ghost stories of Mammoth Cave until my sister got a job there 3 years ago. It is customary for the seasoned rangers to tell new employees about all the unexplainable phenomena that occur in the caverns. It makes sense. You don't want your new employee to be unsuspecting of this and go, fuck this, I'm out. So I kind of, at least they can say, hey man, we warned you. If you didn't want to believe us, then that's on you. A natural opening was rediscovered by a hunter named John Houchins about 1809 while he was tracking a bear. I say rediscovered because it is known now that he was not the first inhabitant of the cave. 4,000 years ago, a Native American culture known as Adinda, I don't know, maybe this is Indian, being the red dots, like of India. Because it says Indian culture. Maybe. Or it could be Native American ones. It explored the cave to a depth of 2 miles. I'm not surprised they didn't go far in there, considering that's 4,000 years ago, during a time when caverns of almost any civilization considered it pretty much the gateway to hell, of however they considered hell, that is. Almost any culture will find a cavern and go, yep, that there is definitely the entrance into hell. Don't go far into that thing, or you're gonna go find hell. Don't want that. So, yeah, they only went 2 miles in. They left behind many artifacts, more importantly, dead bodies. The Adinda people mined gypsum, which is believed to have been used for ceremonial purposes. Many of the rangers at Mammoth Cave believe that the Adinda are responsible for some of the ghostly happenings that continue to occur there. Some of these happenings can be considered friendly, while some are considered anything but. Moving now to historical times, about 70 black slaves are known to have mined saltpeter that is found in the soil in the floor of the cave, which I did know of that. Slaves were used to help mine it. I didn't know they were mining. One of the saltpeter mining facility told by the rangers is the warning signals sent by the slaves to the visitors and employees at the cave. About 3 years ago, the guides came in to find the largest boulder in the room had crashed into the exact spot where the guides stand to give their speech about the saltpeter mining. The guides think this was a message from the slaves to stay away, that they don't want anyone in the cave. It is felt that the slaves view the guides as intruders. I don't see why they would really. They were slaves, meaning they were forced to work the mines, against their will kind of stuff. And it's like, so why would you want them, people not to tell your story, honestly? Be like, man, this sucks. This is why slavery is bad. I could not see them wanting to. That one could honestly just been a coincidence. Although I don't know if I should say coincidence because I don't quite believe in coincidences myself. I feel that pretty much everything in life happens for a reason. It could be honestly, it could just be maybe the spirits purposely knocked it down and. Because maybe they knew that rock, that big boulder, was already going to fall down. I mean, they could have forced it to fall down better, so that way, again, a guide wouldn't hey, we don't want you to die here like we died here kind of thing. So we're going to go ahead and knock this down. It just happens to be like that's the spot it was going to be in. They knew it was dangerous. But, okay, anyway. In 1838, Mammoth Cave had a new owner who brought many slaves to work there. A good number of these slaves came to be known as both guides and explorers, which that was something I remember reading about. That was, to me, really, really cool. I thought it was cool that, although, yes, they were slaves, they became the tour guides of the place. And I could nonetheless see these guys becoming attached to the place because, even though they're forced to work this stuff, it's like they learn more about this cave than anyone else because they're in there working the damn place. I mean, so I could see them becoming attached. The most widely known of these slaves is Stephen Bishop. Hold on. Alright guys, sorry about that. That was actually Abe calling. He was on a break. He wanted to just talk for a minute, so I took that time to talk to him. Although that's a lapse for you guys, as far as you know. Only a second has passed. Okay, though. So, where was I? Oh, the most widely known of these slaves is Stephen Bishop. He is the one who discovered one of the rivers inside the cave, and also found its Great Mammoth Dome, along with other important rooms and passageways. Bishop is the main focus of many of the ghost stories told about Mammoth Cave. All of the stories involving Bishop speak of him as helping the people with whom he comes into contact, which is cool. He was the guy who was also one of the tour guides. I would hope he would be helpful. Alright, so let's see here. One park ranger speaks of a strange occurrence that happened 3 years ago. It is said that a visitor to the cave system had injured himself inside the cave, so a few other rangers were sent in to help get him out. Each ranger always carries along 3 sources of light when they go inside the cave: a flashlight, a backup flashlight, and a lighter. One of the rangers that went in to help get the visitor out decided to take a shortcut to get to him more quickly. Almost immediately, he found himself lost when his flashlight went out. He retrieved his second light, but it too was not working. As a last resort, he got the lighter out of his pocket, but it would not work either. Alone in the horrible pitch-black world of the underground, he quickly became panic-stricken. Yeah, I would be. I've sat in the dark in the caves, and I do not like that. I do not like the silence and the pitch-blackness. Nope. He saw a faint light in the far distance and thought it was his party, so he started walking toward the light. As he moved closer to the light, he noticed it was not that of a flashlight. Rather, it had the shape of an old-fashioned oil lantern. But since it was a light, he kept walking toward it anyway. He still didn't hear any voices. Suddenly, as he got closer to the light, it dashed sharply to the right, then disappeared. At that point in time, he heard voices to his left and saw the light of a modern flashlight. His companions were not far away. He didn't say anything until they exited the cave. Once on the outside, he checked his lighter and found out that it had plenty of lighter fluid in it. The ranger and many others will tell you that the light belonged to Stephen Bishop. He is always the ghost who is thought to help people who are lost or in trouble there in the cave because he himself thought the cave to be very frightening at times. Bishop was once quoted as saying, "Mammoth is a grand, gloomy, and peculiar place, a place not soon to give up its last, deepest secret." Another guide there in Mammoth Cave once spoke of actually seeing Bishop. At the giant's coffin, one ranger was speaking to the visitors and another was trailing the tour, turning off the lights as the tour progressed. Up to the left of the giant's coffin is a very steep ledge. The ranger claims that on this ledge he saw an old black man with a stick cane in one hand and a lantern in the other. He was wearing old slave-type clothes and a railroad hat. Stunned, the ranger grabbed his flashlight and shined it up to the ledge and could see the old man staring right down at him. In a flash, whoever it was gone. The ranger still believes it was Bishop that he saw that day. After being used as a saltpeter mine, Mammoth Cave was used as a church and as a tuberculosis hospital run by Dr. Corrigan. He had thought that the constant temperature inside the cave would cure the disease. Less than a year later, 5 people had died, and Dr. Corrigan himself died a short time later. This cave has seen its number of horrid deaths. Some people view this as the reason for the many ghosts that seem troubled or angry. By way of illustration, one time one of the tour guides was at the chute site and was reaching to turn off the lights as the tour progressed. As he bent over, he felt a very strong force grab him from behind and actually throw him to the ground. Oh, pardon me. He first thought one of his co-workers had done it as a joke. But upon looking around, he found no one there. After the tour was over, he even asked who had thrown him down, but everyone swore that they had nothing to do with it. Most of the regular tour guides report random pecks on the shoulder, being pushed down, tripped, or even hearing footsteps behind them when no one was supposed to be there. Approximately 5 years ago, a renowned psychic came to Mammoth Cave because of all the talk about the ghosts and spirits that were haunting the cave. She specialized in actually being able to see the dead who haven't crossed over yet. At first, everyone was joking about her seeing Stephen Bishop and some other usual ghost once you got inside the cave. When entering the cave, One has to go down a series of steps before actually going through the main entrance. As soon as this woman cleared the stairs and started into the cave, she began screaming at the top of her lungs. Ugh. She was asking the other people there if they could see what she saw. Then she began screaming for them to get her out of there. One of the guides had to actually escort her back to the outside, as she refused to go any further into the cave. Once outside, she was visibly shaking, stating that she literally saw hundreds of people all around the walls of the cave. She screamed out, "They do not want us here." As stated earlier, it is indeed splendid to explore Mammoth Cave inside and out, but keep an eye out for Stephen Bishop and some of his friends while touring the cave. You never know what you might see. Okay, yeah, I ain't gonna lie, that last little bit is giving me chills, like, all over. The part where she's screaming and then she sees hundreds of bodies inside just lining the walls. Virgil, we don't want you here. Like, I can just visualize this in my head, and I'm just going, oh shit, no. No, if I was able to see ghosts like her, and I saw hundreds of freaking bodies, just everybody, like, looking at you, telling you I don't want you here, yeah, I think I'd probably be screaming too. But then again, if I'm known to see bodies, I don't know if I would scream, actually. Me personally, I probably would be freaked out. And I probably would start shaking and things like that. Just probably like slowly start backing out of the cave, being like, nope. Nope, we're turning right back around right this second. And I'd probably have to collect myself before I could go back in. I think I might be willing to go back in, even though I could see all the bodies, all the people, because I would be interested to figure out their story. I would want to know their story, really. I would want to know who they are, so that way I can then research these people. I would be writing down their name, their age, what, like when they were born, when they died, if they themselves know that, and I would look up their history, and I would want to tell their history as much as I possibly can. Maybe put up a plaque for all these people who have died there. Who knows? Maybe some of Kentuckians' people, lineage-wise, like maybe they don't even know that some of their family died there. They ain't got a clue. Wouldn't that be neat to know? To know, oh damn, one of my ancestors, their spirits down in there. I don't know. I think that's what I would want to do. It does make me want to go there though and do a ghost session. That would be neat. I think Abe and I would be able to do it. But at the same time, I'm not 100% sure. We would probably have to do it. Obviously, I know we would have to ask them for permission, because Mammoth Cave is one of the national parks. It is not. It's government owned, but it's not just only state government owned. Like it is federal government owned. It is one of the few ones around here. Like I think it's the only one we have in Kentucky that is a federal place that they said, hey, we need to preserve this, so we're going to put this literally under like our seal. It's not going to be state, it's going to be federal. So you cannot mess with Mammoth Cave without getting into some serious trouble. And yeah. Dang, I feel like I could have actually probably made this whole podcast out of Mammoth Cave and just talking about it and its history and everything. I don't know, maybe there'll be a different podcast on it. I don't know. But yeah, you guys are gonna have to tell me what you think of some of these ghost stories. Let us know what you all think of these ghost stories. If you're from this area or have any more knowledge, please put it in the comments. We want to read these things. We want to be able to comment back as much as possible. But yeah, I mean, if nothing else, maybe I gave you, especially with Mammoth Cave, maybe I gave y'all some reasons to come visit Kentucky. Kentucky has a lot of history here, so definitely come visit. Check us out in the state, in the sense of visiting the state. Check us out. We're an okay state to come visit. Yeah, I'd say we're an okay state to come visit. There's lots. I mean, we're always finding things to go check out. So yeah, let us know what y'all think. Like, subscribe, share us with all your friends and buddies and stuff, and catch y'all later. Have a good night.
We are, as a people, inherently and historically opposed to secret society, opposed to secret oaths, opposed to secret proceedings, secret proceedings. No official of my administration, whether his rank is high or low, should interpret my words here tonight as an excuse to censor the news, to stifle dissent, to cover up our mistakes, or to withhold from the press and the public the facts they deserve to know.